I have no idea what the hell happened. I have no idea what the hell happened. Can you hear me? All right. The camera just went dead. I had to end the stream, the live stream, and then it popped back on. I have no idea why and how. I apologize. I hope people migrate over here. I swear to God, I didn't even touch anything. Aaron says, still watching you on the toilet. I'm so happy. That makes me so happy. All right, well, everybody sort of gathers back in here. I'm going to go hang my picture back up. Please enjoy the view of my ass as I walk away. All right. And we're back. I don't know. I don't know. Oh. Are you and Bo? Are you a Bo level bourbon guy? I don't know if anybody is a Bo level bourbon guy. Um, I like bourbon, but if I was ranking my spirits, it would probably be like Irish whiskey and scotch. And then I think I'd put bourbon next on the list. Today we're having a Whistle Pig Old World Rye, 12 years. You mentioned going bowling tomorrow. Are you a good bowler? No, I'm a terrible bowler. My mother, when I was a kid, played in a bowling league, but I'm convinced it was just an opportunity for her to get together with her lady friends and gab and drink. But at one point, she had her own ball. She had one of those wrist guards that she used. She may have been going and, hanging out with her mistress. I have no idea, but she was in a bowling league. Is Bo really that guy or is it a work? No, that's Bo. That's about as accurate as Bo is on his show. He's a genuine guy. Does McNeil's substantial Twitter following overshadowing yours make you self-conscious? No, good for him. He also follows like 50,000 people. Who do you dislike more, Nickelback or Herbie? I actually like one of those things for the most part, and that's Herbie. No, I will sit on Chad Kroger's lap before I have another conversation with Herbie. Stole this question from a Spotify post today. Name a debut album that changed the game. That changed the game. That's subjective, right? Like, you can argue that no one changed the game like Nirvana did in 91, but that's not the debut album. Bleach is. And Bleach didn't change the game. Changed the game for I can answer that question for me. The debut album that changed the game for me was Pearl Jam's 10. I'm a big Pearl Jam fan. I don't think they get the respect they deserve. And when that album came out, I was 11 years old. And it reminded me a lot of the guitar on that album reminded me a lot of the 70s rock that I was starting to enjoy at that time, 60s and 70s classic rock. Jen says definitely maybe Oasis. And it's hard to argue with that. Weezer Blue made nerd rock cool, changed the game for nerds. I can see that. I can see that. And I enjoy that album. I enjoy it too because I'm a fan of the Cars. Rick Ocasek produced that, and if you listen to it, I mean, it sounds like the Cars, and that's not a bad thing. It's not, but I enjoy it a lot. What's your favorite UB40 song? I'm not a real big UB40 guy, but the only ones I get, the only Red Wine, right? Red wine. What's another one? What was the bunker day like off the air? It was a cluster fuck, is what it was. Let me tell you what happened. So, if you didn't know this, what was it last week? I even forgot. It runs together. I'm walking through the radio station. It's probably about 1:30, and Clay Gordon, who is a 10 TV anchor, stops me and says, "Hey, man, we just found a white powdery substance in the newsroom, so we're evacuating the entire building. Tell everyone." This has never happened to me ever in 21 years plus of working at this radio station. And so I didn't know what the precedent was. Like, do I just, first of all, I didn't know, was this an overreaction? Are we really supposed to evacuate? No offense to Clay, but does Clay know what he's talking about? Is this a television problem or a radio problem or both? So, of course, I go over to Dom Taberry, who's just sitting at his desk. And I say, "Dom, did you talk to Clay?" "Yeah, what the hell's he saying about we got to go someplace?" "Well, he says we have to evacuate." "I remember back in the day, somebody came in with a shotgun." "That's great, Dom. Should we evacuate now?" "I don't know." So I talk to Rothman and Ice after they go to a commercial break. I tell them what's going on. I talk to their producer, Colin. I tell them what's going on. We decide that we're going to switch to ESPN radio after they make some sort of vague announcement. And then we all started to trickle out. We didn't know how long it was going to be or what the deal was, maybe 5 minutes, right? This is like the day that I didn't bring a coat either. It's freezing cold. I didn't bring a coat. I grabbed my phone and my keys, and that's it. I got my laptop. I got my show sheet. I could have taken all of this stuff with me. I didn't know. So then we're standing outside. I didn't have a coat on. I go sit in the car. I start the car. Car's running. Teddy's in his car. Once in a while, I get updates from like Timmy walking back and forth. Police show up. They send dogs over. Meanwhile, we have this bunker shed building at the back of the property where we store all the crap that no one uses ever. Why wouldn't we throw it away? It's obsolete? I have no idea. Because if you run a TV station or a radio station, you're an engineer. By nature, you are a pack rat. You will save everything, even if it's worth nothing. And so we're in this barely heated bunker type room. They're trying to set up a news desk on one side of it and put lights and cameras in so they can do the news out there, the TV news. And we're trying to figure out how to get on the air because everything we tried to plug in was dead. Who the hell knows? We had a hamster wheel. I can't believe we actually got on the air. And then Rothman and Ice are standing around waiting to see if they're going to go back on the air. I finally said, "Go home. You're not going to get back on the air. And if you do, it's going to be 250. What are you going to do? Come in, say hello, and then leave? So they left. Bone and I are standing around waiting for somebody to give us a high sign to go on the air. We have no idea what the hell we're going to talk about. And we have no idea what we're allowed to talk about. Because at that time, it's an active investigation. We got the FBI on site. What the hell are we supposed to say? I don't know. So we're just all frazzled. It was terrible. Terrible. And yes, I know it sounded like shit. I apologize for that. Uh, See, I just did it again. I've tried to do that the last couple basements, tried to stop making that noise. And I just want you to know that when I make it, I hate myself. Eh. I don't mean to parrot that annoying chip dip guy, but will the focaccia be this year's recipe? Yes, I promise I'll get it up. I promise. I was going to do a cookbook. Like 2 years ago, I swear to God. I was going to write a cookbook. Everybody was encouraging me, write a cookbook. T-Bone, write a cookbook. My wife, write a cookbook, right? And at first I'm thinking, well, who the hell is going to give a shit about me writing a cookbook? And then about 19 million of you wanted that cookie recipe. And I would get requests like, hey, when are you writing a cookbook? So I sat down, I actually started to write it. I actually got 7 recipes down. And it's hard for me to write down recipes because a lot of the stuff that I make is just here, right? And so I got these recipes down and I'm trying to make the recipes as uh, detailed as I can without making them too detailed. And you got to write like a little story about why you make this and why it's good and all this other bullshit. And I was just I worked on it for like 2 straight days. And Kristen would come check on me, and I'm typing up stuff and deleting stuff. And what recipes do people want? And then I realized like I'm stressed out. I'm stressed out by this. And this is my one thing that I do, cooking for my family, that helps relieve stress. So why the hell do I want to stress myself out with this cookbook? It's going to make me not want to cook anything. It feels like work. And then I decided I'm not going to do it, but I will do the focaccia recipe. Probably the same email address that I did the cookie recipe because I'm a lazy bastard. I promise I'll get it up. Common man. I'm not watching Star Wars. Be quiet. You sound like Chris Berman. Who sounds like me? Bark, 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 bark. Now I sound like the Cadbury Bunny. You've combined Chinese and Mexican. Have you considered Chinese and pizza? When I was in Iowa City years ago, there was a place that did just that. They combined Chinese food and pizza. I have no idea if it's still open, but I had a crab rangoon pizza, which is a little, if you don't know what it is, it's a little fried piece of shit with imitation crab and warm cream cheese in it. And if you know me at all, you know I'm a slut for warm cream cheese. And so they make the pizza and they like put these little bite-sized crab rangoons on top. My God, delicious. I actually thought to myself, how can I replicate this? How can I open up a place in Columbus and replicate this? And then again, the laziness took over and the lack of any experience whatsoever. And I said, I'm not going to do it. But yes, I've had it. It's good. Mr. Fong? I don't know. That sounds racist. But it was something like that, like Mr. Fong's Pizza. JT's does that pie. They do? I had no idea. I'm going to have to get it. Yellow Brick Pizza does one. I didn't know they did it. I had no idea. Yes, Jen just brought up Pizza Madness, which I am really excited to do. And I'm really excited for all of you to hate me because there's no winning with the Pizza Madness. I know this from talking about pizza on the show for years. If your favorite place doesn't get like my overall number one seed, then I'm the worst person in the world. I know this. If I take a piece of your favorite place's pizza and I don't like it as much as this other place, you're going to kill me. I know, but I don't care because I love eating pizza. We have 64 local pizza places, and there are a couple chains in there, but not many. Local pizza places, and they will fight to the death. Actually, one of the places that's in there, and I was recently turned on to this place because my wife does some work with them, which, by the way, will not influence anything. If anything, that hurts them. It's called East Pizzeria. It's on the east side of town. It is everything that you would think a pizza place should not be. It is vegetarian and kosher. The market for it is Jewish people on the east side, and you can't mix meat and dairy for Jews who keep kosher. And so all the pizzas are vegetarian. Now, it's not gluten free, and the cheese is real cheese, and they do veggies and all sorts of different toppings. It's really good. It is. I don't think they're going to win, but if you've never tried them before, I never would have tried it. And because Kristen was working with them, I gave it a go, and it's really good. So if you find yourself in the area, you want to try something different, and you're not married to meat every single time on your pizza, delicious. Hey, Jen, when are we releasing the bracket? It's got to be like this weekend or Monday, right? What is closing? Block's Bagels is closing? Didn't they, didn't whoever was involved with Block's Bagels, didn't they open up that Bear Bagel? Isn't that the same place? Double check that. I swear to God, Bear Bagels or something has something to do with Block's Bagels. For those of you saying that Fox Bagels, is it Fox? Something. Bear? Girl? Fox was an offshoot of Blocks. All right. Can I tell you what to do? If you just have money burning a hole in your pocket, I do it like twice a year. Kristen doesn't allow me to do it more because she doesn't eat it, she doesn't like it, and it's ridiculously expensive. Okay, wherever is your bagel place of choice, you go buy the bagels, hot, fresh, whatever. Not in this order. That's the last thing you do. Russ and Daughters out of New York City ships online. It is ridiculously expensive, but I guarantee you, if you're a fan of lox, if you're a fan of smoked salmon, you have never had better smoked salmon in your life than what they have at Russ and Daughters. And they sell a scallion cream cheese. They'll ship you bagels. Don't get bagels shipped because day old bagels, 2 day old bagels. No, We need to get fresh bagels wherever you like to get them. Get their lox and cream cheese shipped to you, and then you'll hear the squirting noise that we've been playing all week. Which, by the way, raise your hand virtually if you hate the squirting noise, because the more of you that hate it, the more I want to keep playing it. I wrecked my truck last month and I was listening to a weekend pod. As my truck skidded across the asphalt on its side, the Queen yelled out, "Hello!" It amazes me, because obviously I'm sitting there, I'm doing the show. All of you are in different stages of whatever the hell you're doing when you're listening. Some of you are just passively sitting there listening. Most of you probably are. But sometimes I have to remind myself that, like, some of you have just been cut off by someone in traffic, or you had a close call, or you're skidding on its side. And now forever burned in your memory is, hello. I think my glass needs a filler up. When was the last time you had an encounter with a unique, crazy person? Example, the meat hair later. Every day when I talk to you people. You sound a little bit like Bob Capace. You know who loves Bob Capace? My daughter. She said, "Oh, Bob Capace is the nicest man in the world." You want to know why? Because we went into the shop and they got a little machine in the shop where you put a quarter in and you get like a little tiny gemstone. It's real, but it's not valuable and it's tiny. And she thought that was the greatest thing in the world. And it always amazed me how businesses don't do more of that stuff, because kids are stupid. You just have to give them a little bit of something and a smile, and they will remember you and they will pester you to go back to that place. I don't know why more businesses don't do that. Take advantage of kids and their stupidity. I'm drinking Squirt now. Good for you. I had a Fresca when I got home tonight, and it was refreshing. When was the last time you had a Fresca? Lovely. Have you ever visited the Ringside Cafe in downtown Columbus? Just found out about it last month, looking to try it. Yes, I did. I enjoyed it very much. They're known for their burgers. It's been around for a long time. It's just not convenient for me, but it's a bigger burger. It's not like Thurman's big, but it's a nice thick patty. It's not a smash burger style, which is no problem. I'm just telling you what to expect. But it was good. I enjoyed it very much. Oh, someone else had a Fresca after work. Yes. Is the Ringside Cafe known for their ghosts? I didn't encounter any, sadly. I'd like to. I tell people this all the time. I would like to encounter a ghost. It does not frighten me. As a matter of fact, if I encountered a ghost and I was convinced that it was actually a ghost, it would actually bring me great comfort. Now, in the moment, I'd probably be scared to death. But once I thought about it later and calmed down, if I was genuinely convinced that I had an interaction with a spirit, then I would know there has to be something else. Something is there. Maybe it's not pleasant, maybe it's not great, but something's there because something just attacked me or had sex with me. Had North Star Cafe for the first time this week. Overrated, not a fan of communal seating. I hate communal seating. Can't stand it. I like the food at North Star. It's ridiculously expensive. I have not been back there in years because number one, it violates one of my cardinal rules. They are a place that serves breakfast, but they don't open till like 9 o'clock in the morning. I don't want that. If I'm having breakfast, I want to get up and go have breakfast. And I don't get up at 9 o'clock in the morning because then if I eat breakfast too late, that cuts into my lunch. And I know there's a lot of you stupid white people out there that think that brunch is the best thing in the world. It's not, because we're combining two meals. I want to get as many meals as humanly possible. I don't want to condense my meals. I want more meals. I want fourth meal from Taco Bell. That's what I want. So North Star, good food. I enjoy it. Too expensive, and they don't open early enough. So hell with them. Ever eaten at Scramblers? Yes, many times. They used to have one near my old house when I lived in Gahanna, New Albany area. I swear to God, look at the North Star menu online. I want to say a glass of orange juice is like $4 or $5. And if I'm wrong, I'll admit that I'm wrong. But we did this on the show, and I want to say a glass of orange juice. I'm sure it's fresh squeezed by angels. But that's ridiculous. What's your favorite breakfast spot? I'm boring. When I want breakfast, I usually just want McDonald's breakfast or a fast. Once in a while, I'll do Wendy's breakfast, but I really, really like McDonald's breakfast. And Samantha likes it too, and we can get in and out of there, and it's relatively cheap. I said relatively cheap, but those bagel sandwiches now, which I take full credit for, no bullshit, I am responsible for all of that. But you get like a steak bagel, they're like $9 for one of those meals. That's ridiculous for breakfast. Starliner's the same. I know that's what Timmy was bitching about this week. That was the place. Timmy likes Starliner. They don't open till 9. So he likes to go out to breakfast. And most of the time he'll go to, is it the Olympic Diner, which is right over there on Hilliard, Rome, and Roberts, which I've passed a million times and I've never gone in. But he goes to Olympic Diner because they're open early instead of Starliner, even though he'd prefer the food at Starliner. Hey, Dad, you can actually see that? You can see my orange fingers? I didn't think they were that orange. You know what? You kind of can see the tip. Look at that. The camera makes it look worse. You know what I had for dinner tonight? So Kristen and Samantha were gone. They were not home when I got home. They went to visit my in-laws who spend the winter in Florida, but they came back up for Samantha's birthday, right? And so they went out to dinner with them. So I came home to an empty house. I didn't want to stop and get something to eat. So I just came home and I said, I'm going to go in the pantry. I'm going to raid whatever we have in the pantry. And we had some flaming hot Doritos in the pantry, and I ate like half the bag. So yes, good catch on you. That's hilarious. I also ate an entire pint of ice cream. Thoughts on salt and vinegar chips? Kristen loves them. I can take or leave them. I don't have a problem with them. But if I was by myself, would I buy them? No. If they're on the table, will I eat them? Yes. Again, fat. Don't tell me that you don't sometimes get a hankering to just open up a cabinet or a pantry and look what's in there and make that a meal. If you've never experienced that joy, I feel sorry for you. I'm not saying every meal has to be that way. That's rather sad. But if you really, if you have no opinion on dinner whatsoever, you don't want to make something, you don't want to get something, opening up that pantry or a cabinet and just go into town and make your own little buffet of all the crap that you have in there, that's one of the hidden joys in life. Don't knock it till you try it. Let me scroll back up. I was completely fine after the wreck, but for a moment I was worried the first responders would find my dead body while radio blasted something about Lord Beavercleave. Jen says girl dinner. I'm offended by that term, girl dinner, and you should be offended by that term because that's bullshit. That's just good old fashioned dinner, appetizers, crap, whatever. I hate when we break things down by sexes. Drives me nuts. It's like when people say, "Look," and I know a lot of people say this, and I know that you're. I've seen the T-shirts. People are proud of it. Like when they say, "Oh, I'm a girl dad." What does that mean? You're a dad? Okay, I'm a dad too. I'm a girl dad. But what does being a girl dad have to do with being a boy dad? I've said this before. Maybe if we treated boys with the same love and tenderness that we treat girls, certain boys wouldn't grow up to be total assholes, right? So let's not do like girl dad, boy dad, girl dinner. I fucking hate that. I hate that stuff. Do you tip based on service or just give 20% no matter what? I usually tip very well. And I usually go to the same places over and over again where they know me or they know me because they listen to the show. So I feel like I have, even if I was inclined not to tip high, I feel like I have to because I don't want people judging me. So, Jen, is that what you had for dinner tonight? Pouch of tuna, bag of microwavable rice, and wheat thins? But didn't you feel good eating it? Like just this hodgepodge of shit. You know what I did too, just for good measure? I had a thing of cottage cheese in the refrigerator. I just took a big spoonful of cottage cheese. Did the job. Common Man's dad wore boy dad shirts when he was growing up. No, no, my dad didn't. He would have to give a shit to wear a boy dad shirt. Pepper on the cottage cheese. No, I've never tried that before. It's probably not bad. I've just never tried it before. Cottage cheese and sriracha. Well, you got to go large curd on the cottage cheese. I like the tongue texture. Ranch seasoning on cottage cheese is amazing. How could that not be amazing? I've never tried it. Your dad being able to rebuild an engine yet not order in a drive-through is one of my favorite stories you've told. I think you're combining my dad and T-Bone's dad. My dad could not order at a drive-through. He'd get flustered. But trust me, my dad cannot rebuild an engine. He can do some things, do some light woodworking. T-Bone's dad can do that. Thoughts on ketchup on eggs? Can't stand it. Hate it. But I'm not a big ketchup guy. right? Like I don't put ketchup on my burgers unless it is a McDonald's cheeseburger or a quarter pounder where I feel like it belongs. But I'm not a ketchup guy. If we're doing fries, I'll do ketchup. Most of the time, I'll do nothing on fries. Or if I'm at a place that gives me a good mayo or aioli, I love to dip my fries in mayonnaise. Predict what Samantha will do as an adult. I have different thoughts. Um, she has this quality about her. She draws people in. And I know that maybe 90% of you think that about your own kids. And maybe it's the fact that I just have one, right? Maybe if I had more than one, I would think differently. I don't know. But I was talking to Kristen about this. We talk about this a lot. I don't know what she wants to do, but whatever she's going to do, she's going to be awesome. I'm convinced of that. And she's interesting and she's fun and she's smart. But that's my least favorite thing about her is how smart she is. And she is smart, just from a conversation standpoint, from a testing standpoint, she's smart. But she's interesting, she's awesome, she's artistic, she's loving, she's kind. And whatever she does will make me extremely proud. I can tell already. So I don't know. I don't know. I hate projecting because then I feel like I'm almost influential in pushing her towards something, right? Um, and I will push her towards something. I don't want to be that type of person where it's like, well, go to college and figure it out. No, I want you to have a plan. We're going to pick a college based on whatever plan you have. And I'm not here to pick the plan, but I'll help you get to where you need to be. And whatever she does, she'll be awesome. Timmy's dream details. You don't want to hear Timmy's dream details. It involved naked Zac Efron, and he's trying to stack up Zac Efron's, like in some sort of Jenga game. But Zac Efron's erect penis keeps getting in the way, and so Timmy can't stack him. And in typical Timmy fashion, he woke right up, told his wife, and then texted me about it. Is Zac Efron hung in Timmy's dreams? Yes, just a huge erection, huge. Ketchup on grilled cheese was a thing once. It was? Well, I know that like grilled cheese and tomato soup is a thing, so that makes sense, I guess. All right, one more. What time is it? 8:54. And I feel bad because I screwed this whole thing up today. Even though it wasn't my fault, I will take responsibility. I'm like the Illinois athletic director. I didn't hang the banner, but I will take responsibility for it being upside down. Have you ever tried or thought of doing voiceover work? I've thought about it. I don't even know where to start, though, to be honest with you. I don't know how you get those jobs or those gigs, you know? And then what would it be? Like cartoon, like acting work or like audiobook work? I don't think anybody wants to hear me read a book. Because I'd say things like, and then he went to his doll house, doll, and I'll hear T-Bone's voice in my head. Why you say it weird? Doll, dad. You didn't grow up in a Dublin type area. Is there anything you don't like about Dublin? Yeah, there's lots of things I don't like about Dublin, but there's lots of things I don't like about everywhere. You know, um, I like as a whole. I like this community. You know, I love my neighborhood. You know, I have some really nice, genuine people who live in my neighborhood, and you know, the people who live in my neighborhood, they make nice livings for themselves. You know, but the thing that I like about my neighborhood is it has a really good mix of people in it. I get bored with the same people all the time. I just don't. I didn't grow up in that type of neighborhood. Um, my working life was not in that sort of situation. I get bored with the same type of people. I like different backgrounds, different ethnicities, um, different senses of humor. So I have a nice mix in my neighborhood. I have white, obviously. I have black. I have Indian. I have Turkish. What else do I have? I have Arabic. I have a nice and my neighborhood's a fairly small neighborhood, and yet we still have a nice mix of people. I like that. You should read your wife's books. I do read my wife's books. Is that my wife masquerading as Jay? How many squares do you use to wipe? I'm six. Like six in one go? Or you wipe your entire ass in six squares? If you do, you're my hero. It takes me like three flushes to wipe my ass. Anyway, you'll come back out with your cookie recipe. Did you not get it? It could be like my wife, and I can just clog the toilet all the time. I got the hemorrhoid up there. Again, this is the type of stuff you're going to get when you join me in the basement. The hemorrhoid traps poop, and it's harder to clean. Good night. Think about that. All right, there's two things I want you to dream about tonight: Zac Efron's enlarged penis and my ass wiping because of my hemorrhoid. Thank you for the Christmas card. It made my wife's year. You got it. And next year, I'll do the same for anybody who wants one. All right. Have a good evening, everybody. Be kind to each other. All right. And I am not working on Monday. So it'll be Bone and Tyvis, which, by the way, I love Tyvis. Listen, support him. And then I'll talk to you on Tuesday. So thank you for coming. Thank you for dealing with my stupidity tonight. Night, night.